All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we got even more information coming out from the former Gears of War executive producer, Laura, who we've reacted to a bunch of her videos on YouTube. Apparently, she's come out and spoke against Assassin's Creed Shadows in one of her latest videos, where she said she was baffled. She doesn't quite understand as to why they made the decision to go with Yasuke as a main protagonist in Assassin's Creed Shadows. And if you guys are unaware, if you're living under a rock, there was a lot of backlash, obviously, regarding Yasuke being chosen by Ubisoft, because as much as Ubisoft wants to virtue signal about how this was the right choice and this was the only way for us to represent Japan, we all know the exact reason why this absolutely woke-ass company decided to use Yasuke, of all people they could have used, to represent Japan back in the feudal ages.
I don't want no violence. I ain't gonna do nothing.
So let's get into this article, guys, from Fandom Pulse. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Gears of War executive producer baffled. It says why Ubisoft chose to make Assassin's Creed Shadows with Yasuke as the main protagonist. Laura Fryer, the executive producer on Gears of War, revealed that she was baffled why Ubisoft decided to make Assassin's Creed with Yasuke as the main protagonist. In a recent video uploaded to her YouTube channel titled The Games Industry Elephant, Fryer discussed how video game companies decided to hire localizers and consultants in order to mitigate risk regarding geopolitical issues. Now, okay, so here's the problem, right? Here's my biggest issue with hiring consultants, right? If you guys look at all of the recent issues that we've had on video games, right? I'll give you a perfect example. Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man 2 with Miles Morales. Miles Morales is obviously a half Puerto Rican character, and they decided to put a Cuban flag in his bedroom. And then this is supposed to be Insomniac, right? It's supposed to be Insomniac that has all these consultants. There's no way they can make the mistake, right? Because they have consultants. That's the entire reason consultants exist, because they're supposedly doing the research. They're supposedly putting in the effort and the time to ensure accuracy when it comes to representing non-white people. That's basically it, right? So why do we keep seeing all these mess ups? Why do we keep seeing some of the most basic bitch mess ups by these consultants that are supposed to exist on these titles? Why is that? Assassin's Creed is another example. Assassin's Creed Shadow, based in feudal Japan. Why does it have Chinese architecture? Why does it have Chinese subtitles for the trailer that came out in Japan? Why are you making all of these such basic decisions, these basic mistakes, when you supposedly have consultants that are there to ensure accuracy as best as possible? Why? And it happens all the time. It happens in a multitude of different games all the time. It's almost as if these supposed consultants that they hire are not really experts in the field. All they do is do a simple Google search and hope that they're accurate. That's basically it, because they've managed to get themselves hired by these companies, no matter whether or not they actually provide a good service or not. Because like Sweet Baby Ink told us, they like to terrorize marketing groups to make sure that they get hired, whether or not they actually want to be hired or not, right, by the company. Whether the company actually wants to hire SBI or companies like SBI, they don't really care. They're forcing them to hire them. She then shared one example. There was also that time when all the Microsoft distributors in Turkey were arrested because Engatta 95 had a release with a map that included an area for Kurdistan. That one did get fixed, of course. Microsoft was a good company. They didn't want people getting arrested, and they knew they couldn't expect game developers to be well-versed in geopolitical issues. Well, apparently your consultants aren't either. I'm not trying to be a dick, but your consultants aren't very well-versed either. You know why they do this? I'm going to tell you exactly why they do this. They do this shit so that they can tell you guys, oh, you found a problem in our game? Well, we hired consultants. We didn't do that. The consultants did it. Right? They want to be able to pass blame off to someone else who's not them. That's the biggest reason why they hire these consultants, so that nobody can look at them and say, well, you're racist. Nobody can look at them and say, well, you guys are ethnically, insensitive or whatever. They can't say a thing, because all they got to do is point to their DEI hires and say, no, we hired consultants. We're good. We got our shield. We're good. It's a small amount to pay to ensure the cancel mob doesn't come after us, because we made sure that we hired consultants. That's the new hot word now, right? All the DEI nonsensical fans out there, all they want to see is if you have consultants. As long as you have consultants, then that's fine. They don't give a shit if the consultants do a good job or not, which they don't most of the time, by the way. They don't care about that. Anyway, So they started hiring. They hired a group of localizers and created an entire group to help the product teams be sensitive to those issues. You couldn't have a game developer putting the Microsoft brand at risk. From there, Fryer transitioned to Ubisoft in Assassin's Creed Shadows. After having those experiences, I'm baffled about how some of the things I'm seeing today. Did any of the executives at Ubisoft question whether or not Assassin's Creed Shadows was a good idea? I've been to Japan many times. I worked with Namco as a producer on Revenge of Arcade, and during Xbox, I managed a team there. I love the people and the culture. And based on that experience, I would never have agreed to do this game because even if you handled it as delicately as possible, it's easy to make a mistake, she continued. And I think they have. The game isn't even out yet. It's already mired in controversy, and this isn't what you want for your game. Maybe it'll blow over, and they'll be able to navigate this. But if not, that was a very expensive experiment, she concluded. And well, the truth is, Ubisoft has been doing a lot of expensive experiments to the point where now the company's about to be bought out, right? And I've been saying this for the longest time. Here's what they're doing. Ubisoft is not going to do a buyout until Shadows comes out. Once Shadows actually releases, then they will say something. Then they will mention the buyout. But up until then, they're not going to mention a single thing. They desperately don't want to say anything until the day comes where Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out. And I keep telling you guys, Assassin's Creed Shadows has to be a mega hit. And I'm talking mega hit, right? I'm like astronomical hit for it to come anywhere close to saving Ubisoft. If Assassin's Creed doesn't hit, and I pretty much guarantee you it's not going to, even if it sells a little bit, even if it sells well for the Assassin's Creed title, it doesn't matter. Ubisoft has lost way too much money. Ubisoft has spent way too much money on their activism. They've blown it on titles like Skull and Bones. They've blown it on freaking Star Wars Outlaws. They have lost too much money. And every time a new quarter comes out, they're talking about losing hundreds of millions of dollars. It is not a company that can be saved by one singular game, even if that game does well. The only chance that they have is if the game does Black Myth Wukong level numbers. That's the only way that they have a chance of not potentially being bought out. Otherwise, it's not happening. And I guarantee you, Shadows is not going to do Wukong level numbers. It's just not even close. There's too much disrespect there. There's too much controversy there. And like I said, it might sell well for an Assassin's Creed game, but it damn sure is not going to sell well enough in order to save Ubisoft from its eventual demise. And they're going to be bought out by Tencent. That's what's going to happen. They're not going to announce it until Shadows comes out, and then a month or two later, they're going to be like, hey, by the way, we're being bought out. That's what's going to happen. It's unlikely that Ubisoft's own missteps will blow over, which is true, and they'll be able to navigate it, mainly because Mark Alexis Cote, Ubisoft's executive producer on Assassin's Creed, has made it clear that the company is doubling down on DEI agenda with Shadows, which was reported by Eurogamer during a BAFTA event in London. Cote said at the end of the day, Assassin's Creed is not just a franchise. It's a platform for entertainment, dialogue, discovery, and understanding. Well, we're going to see how much you understand things when you're on the fucking unemployment line. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll see. We'll see how much you actually understand anything when you guys are fired. It's so stupid. I cannot believe you're literally here willing to risk it all just so you could put a black guy in feudal Japan, just so you could make him beat up Asian people at hip-hop music. Like, it's insane, bro. It's absolutely insane. You're going to have Assassin's Creed shills buy this game, obviously. I don't doubt that. You're going to have all of that happen, but it's just not going to be enough. And again, I want to remind you, even if the game does do well for the Assassin's Creed game, it does not matter. The game is not going to be able to save Ubisoft, and Ubisoft will die no matter what. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.